Hi, this is Tina Elmer with Prudential Fox & Roach and Welcome Home Philly TV. Today we're going to learn a little bit more about insurance, and we're here with Trident Insurance. This is Jim Lavin. Hi, Jim.
Hi.
So the thing, we've touched on different general information about insurance and insurance policies. The thing I wanted to sort of go into with you today a little bit is flood insurance. Can you tell people maybe why one would get flood insurance and just what flood insurance is? And I think there's some misconception out there about flood insurance, and I think it would be helpful to know.
Definitely. I guess the biggest misconception with flood insurance is that it's not covered under your standard homeowner's policy. Every standard homeowner's policy excludes any type of coverage for flooding, any type of water damage because of flooding. So the only way to get flood coverage is to have a flood policy. Every flood policy is regulated by the government. Everything's funded through the government, so it's very inexpensive to get flood coverage.
Okay.
I guess the closest thing that you can get to any type of water damage on your homeowner's policy would be like the water backup and sewer backup, and that covers you if, let's say that there's an excess amount of rain where the public sewage system actually overflows into your home and it causes damage that way. That's covered under the water backup coverage. And also if you were to have a big rainstorm and your sump pump were to fail, that would also cover you for that. But the only way to get coverage for an actual flood damage, related incident is to have flood coverage.
So I think, we just obviously have had so many storms, I think people tend to think if you're in a floodplain, that's when you should get flood insurance. But do you, like I said, we just had huge hurricanes, lots of rain. I know personally we had water in my basement that wasn't covered. Luckily, the damage was very minimal. But, do you suggest to people that they should spend that little extra money and get that flood insurance? Or do you think because if you're not in a floodplain that you shouldn't get it?
I recommend it to everybody.
Okay.
It's never a bad thing to have the flood coverage. And, specifically, if you're located within a flood zone, you're just, it's estimated that you're going to have one flood damage per every, I think, 50 years that they're estimating to have. Just because you're not in that flood zone doesn't mean you're not going to get hit with flood damage. If you're not in a flood zone, usually the policies only run about $100 a year, and that'll provide you full coverage on your home as well as your contents within the home. So I recommend it to everybody. It's
great. Now, just one last thing. I know that I remember getting an email saying that because of all the damage that had happened recently, that there was some limit, you couldn't write new flood insurance. Is that still the case, or is there now still flood insurance available?
Well, what's going on right now is that the government, since I said the government regulates everything, they're going through the funding process to see how they can extend the program. Right now it's extended to November 18th, and during that time they're looking at reviewing like a 5-year extension, so that we won't have to go through anything like that again.
That's good. Awesome. Well, how can people find you? Give us your phone number and email address if they have more questions about homeowners insurance. I am available all the time. My direct line here is 215-440-2047, and I can be emailed at james.lavin@prooffoxroach.com. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and you can always find more information at welcomehomephilly.com. Thanks again.
Thanks.